again. Welcome to TVC News at this hour. President Muhammadu Buhari is about to present the 2020 appropriation bill before a joint session of the National Assembly for consideration and approval. This will be the president's first budget presentation before the 9th Assembly, barely 5 months after signing the 2019 budget into law. On Monday, the budget was the only issue discussed at the extraordinary Federal Executive Council meeting. Before that, the National Assembly had approved the 2020-2022 medium-term expenditure framework as well as the fiscal strategy paper last week, where the proposed budget was increased from 10.007 trillion naira to 10.729 trillion naira. We're receiving live pictures now from the House of Representatives, which is the venue of today's budget presentation. Of course, we know that President Buhari is about to arrive at the chambers of the House of Representatives any moment from now. You can see the hustling and bustling by lawmakers, as well as what is expected to be a forefront now of the presidency, coming in advance ahead of the president's arrival. And right now the president has finally arrived. I told you earlier, the President Muhammadu Buhari is at the National Assembly today for the presentation of the 2020 budget. Of course, this follows an extraordinary meeting of the Federal Executive Council yesterday at the State House in Abuja. This to present and agree on the budget that will be tabled before the federal lawmakers. Now, this is also going to be a precedent, or this is also going to be the foundation to what is expected to be rigorous debates, rigorous meetings by the lawmakers now ahead of the passage of the budget, which the president will finally sign into law.
distinguished and honorable colleagues, before we start this session, let us seek the intervention of the Almighty God in our affairs of today. In that regard, let me invite very distinguished Senator Abdul Fattah Buhari for the Muslim prayer opening.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا اغفر لنا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة.
We're watching live proceedings now of the budget presentation at the House of Representatives in the National Assembly, Abuja. The President Muhammadu Buhari is seated. The national anthem has been sung. The program has started in earnest. Prayers are currently being given at the moment. Many expecting, of course, that the president will be called upon any moment from now to present the budget with the necessary figures. We can see the leadership of the National Assembly, that's Ahmed Lawan and Femi Gbajabiamila. Christian prayers are now being said at the moment. And this is the first time that the president will be present at the National Assembly, this current assembly of the National Assembly, the 9th. It will also be recalled that only 5 months ago, the president had signed the 2019 budget into law after it had been passed by the federal lawmakers. With this now, the expectation for the presidency and the lawmakers especially is that the budget cycle will return to what it used to be, what they want it to be. That's between January to December.
Destruction and judgment. Have mercy on us, O God. For the last time we ask, O God, that you heal this land. Save us from every external influence that is against this country. Those who want to divide us, those who do not believe in our strength. Father, we pray this day that let your wisdom reign upon this country. That let this budget that is being presented today be the budget that will turn around everything that concerns this country for good. In Jesus' name we pray.
Your Excellency, Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, Your Excellency, Mr. Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, GCON, Your Excellency, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, my Lord, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Ove Omo Agege, Your Excellency, the Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, Honorable Ahmed Idris Wase, very distinguished Senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, honorable members of the House of Representatives, Your Excellencies, the governors here present, the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, and members of the National Working Committee present, leaders of other political parties who are here, the national leader of the APC, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Aswaju, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the National Security Advisor, honored ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Chief of Defense Staff, service chiefs, the Inspector General of Police, the Chief of Staff to Mr. President, the Clerk to the National Assembly, the Clerk of the Senate, the Clerk of the House of Representatives, special advisors, and special assistants to Mr. President, heads of government agencies, parastatals and departments, invited guests, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, on behalf of my colleagues, distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and honorable members of the House of Representatives, I welcome you and members of your entourage to this first joint session of the 9th National Assembly for the presentation of the 2020 budget estimates. All of us, members of the National Assembly here today, and indeed all Nigerians, look forward to this day with great expectations. As representatives of the people, we are assembled here to listen and receive the fiscal plans for the year 2020 for the people that we represent. For every Nigerian, this day is significant as we unfold the plans of the federal government on how our socio-economic well-being will be enhanced in the year 2020. Your Excellency, all eyes and indeed ears in Nigeria and across the world are on this event, and the moment is yours. Your Excellency, today marks another day of exercising the constitutional obligations and mandates by both the legislature and the executive as provided for in Section 81 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. This function, being the first in the 9th session of the National Assembly, makes it even more significant as both the legislature and the executive have demonstrated readiness and commitment to work together in order to pass the 2020 budget in a good and desirable time. Clearly, this effort is to enable the federal government provide those laudable objectives of physical infrastructure and socio-economic services to our citizens. The public, as well as the private sectors, need a reliable budget cycle that is predictable and reliable for planning and execution of their fiscal and financial policies and programs. It is therefore necessary that the present cycle is changed to a January to December cycle. In this regard, the National Assembly and the Executive must work together to ensure the realization of this very important objective. The National Assembly, after the receipt of the budget estimates today, will swing into swift action to start work. Both chambers of the National Assembly have constituted their committees. We are therefore ready to start processing the budget estimates. The 9th National Assembly has shown capacity, commitment, and willingness to treat legislative matters that will impact on the lives of our citizens with dispatch and every sense of urgency. This was clearly demonstrated last week when we received, processed, and passed the request of Mr. President on the 2020-2022 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper, MTEF FSP. Your Excellency, the National Assembly will treat the 2020 budget estimates with the same commitment or even more. In our efforts to pass the budget, we will, however, also be guided by the legislative requirement of a thorough scrutiny. Mr. President, the National Assembly committees are ready to receive the honored ministers and other heads of government agencies for the defense of the budget estimates of the various MDAs. In order for timely passage, all MDAs are expected to appear before the committees for the defense of their budget estimates within the month of October. We have earmarked the month of October to be the sole window for all budget defense activities in this year by all MDAs. In this regard, our committees will be expected to conclude their work on budget defense within October this year. The subsequent necessary legislative work will be carried out in November and December, leading to eventual passage before the end of this year. Recently, the Senate passed its legislative agenda, and the House of Representatives will pass its legislative agenda soon. Though the agendas are separately treated, the objectives and goals are the same. At the heart of our agendas are the Nigerian people. Mr. President, both the legislature and the executive have the same agenda, a commitment to taking Nigeria to the next level of development. We all want to ensure that the federal government is better enabled to provide enhanced security for protection of lives and property of Nigerians, an improved and revitalized economy that is all-inclusive, able to create and sustain employment opportunities for our teeming youth, taking Nigerians out of poverty to prosperity and sustainable development. Mr. President, we are all on the same page. Mr. President, the budget estimates will remain what they are, estimates, until we are able to generate and receive the necessary revenues to fund and foot the bills. It is therefore imperative that our revenue-generating agencies be more alive to their responsibilities, more innovative and focused on how to meet their revenue targets. The National Assembly will continue to review how our revenue generation, collection, and remittance will be more effective and efficient. We therefore need to review the laws establishing the agencies responsible with a view to enhancing their capacity and capability. The implementation of the budget is as important and vital as the passage of the bill, probably even more. Our committees will work assiduously to undertake oversight to ensure proper and timely execution of the programs and projects of government. We need to ensure prudence, economy, and value for money in the delivery of services to our people. Over the years, our public procurement process appears to be encumbered by a lengthy bidding process and inadequate mobilization of funds, amongst other limitations of the Public Procurement Act 2007 as amended. These tend to delay execution of government programs and projects, or even stall achieving the execution at all. The National Assembly will fast-track the amendment of the Act to ensure effective and efficient implementation of our budgets. Finally, let me assure Your Excellency of the readiness of members of the 9th National Assembly to partner with your administration to achieve all the goals and targets of taking Nigeria to the next level of development and prosperity. On this note, it is now my pleasure and privilege to invite His Excellency, Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federation, Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, to present the 2020 budget estimates to the joint session. I thank you all for your kind attention, Mr. President, sir.